There used to be a great expanse of ocean here, but through the passage of time, grain after grain of sand has now formed this big area of land. "400 years ago, our forefathers reclaimed it through its use for salt production and aquaculture, benefiting many lives. Whenever the north wind blows, a group of winged passengers will land here. After flying over mountains, crossing the oceans and wilderness, they stop here every year, leaving their fascinating markings. As the spring returns, they change into simple yet gorgeous new plumage and go home to breed. So it happens year after year. This is a very rare bird. In 1989, there were only 288 individuals left in the world. After more than 20 years of conservation efforts, its numbers have increased to 2,693, but it is still categorized as a species near to extinction. In order to breed and to survive, it must migrate collectively. Its footprints stretch across 9 countries in Asia. Through hails of bullets across the North-South Korean border, through the dark clouds of snow and sleet, what on earth makes it always keep its appointment on time? We cannot confirm its first visit to Taiwan. The only thing known for certain is that in the 19th century, Swinhoe, the English naturalist, got hold of a stuffed bird and gave it its new identity. It was not until the end of the 20th century that we humans started to get to know it, little by little. The passenger that pays its annual visit to this lagoon has an unusual name, the Black-faced Spoonbill. Yesterday's ocean, today's sand. How many stories are blowing in the wind? 400 years ago, a literary man from China, Chun Di, recorded a sandbar here that lay sprawling like a giant fish. This was where rivers used to converge. Then our ancestors crossed the sea to get here, and it became where the merchants gathered. During the great age of maritime exploration in the 16th and 17th century, the Dutch discovered the island, anchored here, pushed it onto the world stage, and made it a stronghold in East Asia trading. 38 years later, the Dutch were expelled by the famous Gong. History has left its marks. Today, we can still witness the links to traditions. With abundant aquatic life, the ecology here is as fascinating as our humanities. This is Taijiang. As generations succeed one another, the sandbars keep drawing new boundaries. What used to be the coastal area is now a jungle of tower blocks. As a rule, humans always try to grab land from nature. In 1994, Binnan Industrial Area Planning Project was initiated, but because of the nearly 200 black-faced spoonbills nesting in the Zhongwen River mouth wetland, the development project was delayed. The dispute between conservation and industrial development at that time made the black-faced spoonbill a flagship species known to everyone. The Zhongwen River mouth wetland became internationally renowned, and later this resulted in the birth of Taijiang National Park. There are 6 different species in the spoonbill family throughout the world. The black-faced spoonbill has the lowest numbers and is only found in East and Southeast Asia. The Eurasian spoonbill is the most widespread species, commonly seen in Africa and most of Europe and Asia. The African spoonbill, of course, lives in Africa. The royal and yellow-billed spoonbills reside in Australia, and the roseate spoonbill is found in America. Spoonbills are a group of birds born with a flat bill which is shaped just like the Chinese lute, pipa, hence its Chinese name, pilu. The black-faced spoonbill is named after the bald patch of dark skin on its face. Its bill and feet are also black in color. Each bird has distinct lines in its bill, which are just like humans' fingerprints. By March or April, almost all this group of adults have their breeding plumage. To make themselves more attractive, they wear golden aprons on their chests and sport a golden punk hairdo on the back of their heads. By the end of fall and the beginning of winter, when mating season is over, their plumage will again turn completely white, and the ornamental feathers on their heads will disappear as well. It takes 3 years for a black-faced spoonbill to reach reproductive maturity. In this picture, the few birds with light brown bills are immature juveniles. They still have black-tipped primary flight feathers. With their long flat bills, shaped like spatulas, they sweep slowly from side to side in the water to feed. The spoonbill's feeding style is different from that of the egret. The fast and sharp-eyed egret prefers to stalk its prey. When the right moment comes, the egret will pierce its prey with its harpoon-like beak. The black-faced spoonbill, on the other hand, always wades up and down while searching, covering a large area to keep track of its food. Watching them feed, you'll understand why the local fishermen in Chigu call them nabue, which literally means swishing the spoon. Once it senses prey, a wild chase will follow. Luckily, its effort is not in vain. However, even the food caught in its bill might be lost in the end. Sometimes, if it doesn't swallow the food right away, other coveting spoonbills will come over. Even the great heron wants a cut. After dodging left and right, the food that it has worked so hard to catch is still being robbed. After all the hubbub, at last this bird gets to enjoy its hard-earned meal. Early in the morning, after feeding, the black-faced spoonbills fly back one after another to their sanctuary, located north of the Zhongwen River mouth. Leisurely, they preen themselves. It's now 9 o'clock in the morning. They are ready to clock out and go to sleep, while the ever-busy humans are just about to start a new day's work. While wintering in Taiwan, the black-faced spoonbill leads a 5 to 9, not 9 to 5 routine. Unlike more common diurnal birds that start to feed after dawn, the black-faced spoonbill buries its head to sleep during broad daylight, just like an owl. During the rest time of the day, they stay close to one another, and at the slightest sign of trouble, they will move as a group. Affected by the tides, the snipes and plovers will join this party during high tide. Making the best of its curved beak, this curlew has dug out a small fiddler crab hiding under the sand. Are these greenshanks playing hopscotch in the waves? Actually, this is just a unique stance which wading birds use to adjust to sleeping in the wetland. The Caspian tern is also a wintering migrating bird that often rests nearby. But its turf is sharply divided from that of the black-faced spoonbill. They rarely mingle with each other. The tundra swan is a very rare wintering bird. In 2012, there were 8 of them making a very quiet appearance. At dusk, after awakening from its sleep, the black-faced spoonbill will first bathe and groom itself, ready to greet tonight's nightlife. It is active mainly at dawn, dusk, or even during the night. In the dim light, it can make good use of its bill's very acute sensory nerves and enjoy its meal without having to worry. All creatures follow their own habits. However, these are sometimes modified as the result of unexpected occurrences caused by human activities. 300 years ago, Taiwanese started milkfish farming, and this type of aquaculture happens to match with the black-faced spoonbill's life cycle seamlessly. Every year, when the chinaberry tree blooms in March and April, the temperature starts to climb back up. This is when the black-faced spoonbill gets ready to return to the north. It is also the time when fishermen begin the stocking of milkfish fry, which in about 6 months' time will be ready to harvest. By the end of fall and the beginning of winter, when the chinaberry tree is laden with fruits, the black-faced spoonbill returns to winter in Taiwan, which happily coincides with the milkfish harvest season. Fishermen lower the water level of the fish ponds, catch all the big fish, and leave behind the little ones and other trash fish, unintentionally creating a feeding paradise for those birds that live on fish. After harvesting, the water level drops to below 20 centimeters and is a perfect depth for the black-faced spoonbill and other egrets and herons to feed in. As a result, lively scenes of fish ponds packed with feeding spoonbills and other wading birds can often be seen. Aquaculture in the Chibu area uses the shallow ping breeding method, which keeps the water level around 1 meter deep. This way, plenty of sunlight in the water facilitates the growth of algae, which is the milkfish's favorite food. Consequently, only a minimum amount of feed is added to fatten the fry. Milkfish farming creates income for the fishermen. It also provides for the black-faced spoonbill and countless other creatures that live here. Together, they share this gourmet paradise. After finishing another harvest, fishermen scatter rice chaff in the fish pond, which will produce nitrogen and help the growth of algae. This is an important procedure in shallow ping breeding aquaculture. Then they tidy up the ponds and let the ponds rest until next spring. At this time, the black-faced spoonbill will turn to uncultivated fish ponds and add the tilapia to its menu. However, in recent years, the black-faced spoonbill no longer seems to congregate inside the sanctuary anymore. This might have something to do with the changing aquaculture ecology in the neighborhood. Lured by economic incentives, more and more fishermen are switching to stocking pricier aquatic product in their ponds, such as groupers or clams. To accommodate different species of fish, the water level must be deeper. No longer able to feed here, the black-faced spoonbill must search for another food source. They've begun to spread out into the nearby areas, such as Taijiang or the old salt pans in Dingshan, as well as Sicao Wildlife Reserve, and Aogu and Budai in Jiayi. Rarely have these places been chosen as their wintering locations before. To solve the food shortage for the black-faced spoonbill inside the sanctuary, Taijiang National Park collaborates with Tainan University on several research projects utilizing existing fish ponds inside the Qigu West Campus. Professor Wang Yiguang adopts the traditional shallow ping breeding method to stock milkfish. By recreating the original aquaculture environment of Qigu, he hopes to attract the black-faced spoonbill to nest and feed on the campus. It's the harvest day today. Work begins before daybreak. To win consumers' recognition of the stocked milkfish for the conservation of the black-faced spoonbill, Taijiang National Park cans the milkfish with a specially designed label that advocates their black-faced spoonbill-friendly fish ponds. Meanwhile, they hope to attract more fishermen to join in, farming milkfish in shallow ping breeding ponds. This experimental pond had a great report in its first year. Not only did the rare tundra swan pay a visit, but the black-faced spoonbills also came here to feed and roost. The highest number present at one time exceeded 500 individuals. Winter is the best time to carry out a census of the black-faced spoonbill population. At the present time, in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, and Vietnam, there are many researchers or birders who are simultaneously investigating the numbers of black-faced spoonbills on the second Saturday and Sunday of January each year. According to 2012's records, there are 2,693 black-faced spoonbills in the world, of which 1,562, more than half of them, were recorded in Taiwan and concentrated in the Tainan area. There is also a sporadic distribution in places like Yilan and Jinmen. In short, more than half of the black-faced spoonbill's global population winters in the Tainan area. That's why every year, from October to the following April, there are always a lot of people visiting Taijiang to view the black-faced spoonbill. March. Though spring has arrived, the northeast monsoon is still blowing hard. Adult black-faced spoonbills have already changed into their brilliant plumage, ready for the mating season. Soon they will embark on the journey north. The long and arduous travel requires tremendous physical stamina. To build their strength, they feed more frequently. It's time to depart. The journey to the breeding ground will take about a week. This is Shicheng Village, a small fishing village in Liaodong Peninsula, China. Far away on that tiny uninhabited island is one of the very few breeding sites of the black-faced spoonbill in China. Though it is already the beginning of May, the scenery still looks bleak and the weather still bitterly cold. Viewed from the air, this little island is shaped like the Chinese character Ren, meaning person. That's why the locals call it Ren-shaped sandbar, Xingren Tuo. On this island, the black-tailed gull rules supreme. Tens of thousands of them squawk and screech here, making quite a racket. In 1998, scholars from the Chinese Academy of Sciences discovered 4 pairs of black-faced spoonbills breeding here. Consequently, a sanctuary was established. By 2011, there was only 1 pair of black-faced spoonbills left to nest on a steep rock face. They probably had 2 or 3 eggs, and the male and female took turns to brood. The one that was not brooding must fly out to feed. They had 30 kilometers to travel before they reached the mudflats of the estuary. It was tough. The near-extinct Chinese egret was also spotted on this island. Being a migratory bird as well, it arrives a bit later than the black-faced spoonbill, and it also comes to breed. As opposed to China's rapid economic growth in recent years, a natural scene such as this was rare. Many photography buffs flocked here, but unfortunately, only to be disappointed. This is because in 2012, not a single black-faced spoonbill came to breed here. Apart from mainland China, the main breeding sites for the black-faced spoonbill are the many uninhabited small islands close to the Korean demilitarized zone. Every year, hundreds of black-faced spoonbills pair up and scatter among these small islands to breed. Due to military control, normal people are prohibited from landing on these islands, which unintentionally protects the black-faced spoonbill. To better understand the migratory habits of the black-faced spoonbill, Taijiang National Park entrusts Professor Wang Ying from Taiwan Normal University to tag them with satellite transmitters, which track their habitat use and migratory routes. How do you put a transmitter on an extremely wary wild bird? The research team thought of a way to trick them. Professor Wang's assistants place a few model black-faced spoonbills in the fish pond, set the traps, and then wait for the real birds to fall for the deception.
那现在看到有一大群的白鹭鸶在那边，那其实的话，它们是被10只黑面琵鹭的这个假鸟的模型所吸引的，就像是这个我们平常常说，你到那个餐厅的话，你不熟悉这个地方，那你一定看哪一个餐厅的人比较多，你就会去。所以利用这个假鸟也是一样。那我们用这样子的一个原理的话，那么吸引黑面琵鹭呢来这个地方啊。那我们在这个 下面的这个水里面呢，我们设了活套，所以它一下来，在这个地方开始觅食的时候，有时候就会被活套套住那我们人呢就躲在这里观察。那么一看到这个鸟被活套套住的时候，我们就立刻就从这个地方沿着这样走过去，大概200-300公尺，所以大概1分钟以内大概就可以走到。那么把这个鸟解下来，然后我们开始一连串的这个西方工作。
Every time they catch a black-faced spoonbill, they will put a different colored and numbered ring on the leg. This one says T44, which means the 44th black-faced spoonbill tagged in Taiwan. Labels like this can help any researcher or birder to identify the bird in the wild. Next, they will take the basic measurements of each individual, such as weight, bill length, wingspan, and leg length. After that, they will attach the satellite transmitter onto the black-faced spoonbill. This type of transmitter is very light, weighing only 30 grams. It will not encumber the bird in its daily activities in any way. The final release into the wild must proceed in stages. The bird will consider the satellite transmitter attached to its body as a foreign object. To make sure that the bird adjusts well, researchers keep it under surveillance in a big enough space, allowing it to move around and adapt slowly. Only then can the release take place. This one is in very good condition. Through the signals sent back from the satellite transmitter attached to its body, researchers will be able to track its flight path.
4月12号那天，我们在市草这个地方捕捉了这个 T46这一只鸟那这只鸟呢，我们在隔天早上也放，它就回到这个市草这个地区活动在这里大概待了5天之后呢它就往北飞到布袋盐田这里5月14号那它正式从布袋这个地方往北迁移，那飞到台湾的北部的北海岸的这个金山，在这边待了1天之后呢，那第2天呢就飞到杭州湾所以它以1天的时间横过这个台湾海峡到杭州湾，在中国的沿海的这个湿地大概待了2周。那在这里呢，曾经在崇明或者在上海这个地方这湿地呢，它被鸟友照到那这张图呢，就是显示它在当地活动的情形那这只鸟的话呢，它在杭州湾这边待了2周，大概是5月28号的时候呢，那又用1天的时间就是5月29号就飞到这个南北韩交接的这个非军事区那它是偏在北边这一带活动。
Apart from conducting work in Taiwan, the research team and the park administration also actively collaborate with other countries and areas. Congming East Shore in Shanghai, China is a very important habitat for birds during migration. In May 2012, Taijiang National Park Administration signed an alliance with the Congming East Shore Nature Reserve with the goal of assisting each other to investigate the black-faced spoonbill in its migratory relay stations. In June the same year, the park administration also participated in the research team formed by members from Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea to conduct a black-faced spoonbill satellite tracking project inside the demilitarized zone on Ganghwa Island, South Korea. Through the black-faced spoonbill, different countries are connected together in collaboration, and new horizons open up in the vast sky. Looking back at the journey humans have taken protecting the black-faced spoonbill for the past 20-odd years, there certainly have been trials and tribulations. Yet it is exactly where environmental issues intersected with the black-faced spoonbill that the true value of conservation has been reconfirmed. Finally, we no longer care only about our own interests and needs. We realize that it is because of the black-faced spoonbill that we have begun to embrace hope and expectation for our land. To keep moving towards that beautiful, sustainable future, we endeavor to bring more vitality to our community and our land. This is done through promoting ecotourism that focuses on the wonderful performances of nature itself. It is time for the migratory birds to arrive, and many stories will continue on from here. The wanderer that stretches its wings in the wind is as carefree as a passerby, but it pulls at the heartstrings of all who encounter it. Little by little, we have come to the realization that, as we endeavor to protect another life, we uphold our own set of survival rules. In so doing, we witness kindness and the pursuit of beauty. More importantly, under the guidance of nature, we search for the strength of moderation. This time, we will start again. Following the journey of the black-faced spoonbill, we shall retrieve even more wisdom and faith.